Worth all the fighters, worth all the fuss. Before we go too far, take too much. The moonshine grows to grow. And this bubble's gonna pop. It just seems like a lot to make the numbers go up. So take it easy, maybe. Tap the brakes for me. Cause I ain't in a race to the end, and there's so much left to see. Cause you and I know what everybody else must know. Put the sun on the earth and the garden grows. Showing up late. Never trust me, cause the chance we'd shade. Last night sails out to outer space. But it was ours to share, not yours to break.
Yeah, mine.
He's gonna wheel the party.
I'm gonna get going. Yeah. You didn't want to steal it, thank you.
Bubbles gonna pop, it just seems like a lot to make the numbers go up. So take it easy, maybe, tap the brakes for me. Cause I ain't gonna take more than even more than cause you and I know all everybody else must know. Easy water that dirty garden grows. Meanest little trick that they ever did play is making us think that we are stuck this way. With your eyes on the prize, you got bills to pay. Yeah, we're all getting trained to look the other way. But you and I know what everybody else must know. Put the sun on the earth and the garden grows. And you and I need what everybody else must need. So dig a little hole and plant a little seed.
Clean air and clean water seems like something we have to have. But literally, that pin-oak over there, she makes it. Every single year, every square meter of leaves captures a 1/4 gram of PM2.5, and it's either the work of that oak and these maples and the plants on the ground, or your lungs and mine will be gray-brown from breathing them in, one or the other. So it's not just that they took vegetation and soils away from the kids that play here. The living filter that literally makes clean air. Beautiful work out of SUNY Syracuse, scientifically documented. Basically, if you take a tree down, you should pay everyone back for what you've taken away. They're trying, but just that's something like the number. Here's another one that's far simpler. Somebody can chalk it on the walkway here if you like. NOAA did a great study in the Western Sound. I had something to do with getting the money. They basically looked at rib mussels and their capacity to filter the water. So in case some of you are thinking, well, you know, they must be a relatively newcomer on the planet, the suspension feeders. They've been around since the beginning of the Cambrian at 530 million years ago. A long time. They're one of the first. Basically what a suspension feeder does, the humble clam, the rib mussel, the oyster, she is literally taking what would be flushed out to sea and building it into the food web. That's just the equation in her mind, so to speak. And the least I took of the NOAA study is very, very good study. They documented the individual behavior of each in rib mussels. And I've looked at these too, but they looked at it with care and got doctoral theses and all for it. So I didn't name her. A friend of mine, Tatiana, USI, thinks we should give her a name. This rib mussel, somebody chalked this on the ground here. She can, the worst one that Noah mentioned, can filter 25.92 liters per day. Okay, where's the chalk? Anyway, it's a good, it's just 25 liters, like a significant amount of water. I'm telling you this because the city, basically, you say clean water, well, it's clean, except all of the wastewater treatment plants from our waste dump nitrate into these waterways, right? So it's not that they're bad. That just, if you pour a lot of carbon into wastewater treatment, that's where you get. Is there another way? Well, the 3 most productive ecological systems on the planet, there's only 3. Everybody's got 3 fingers to hold up. It's, of course, the temperate and tropical rainforests. Well, you knew that. And then the other one is the intertidal marsh, the mangroves and our salt marsh, and those two. Those are capturing something like 2 to 4 kilograms of carbon per square meter per year. So they're not kidding, basically. And also, picture in your mind a striped bass, if you would. Can you see her? Yeah. That creature is 44% salt marsh. It's where it comes from. Sunlight into the marsh, into the mussels, into the scallops, into everything else that the creatures eat. Literally true. You can measure it, basically, with a number of techniques, including separating the carbon isotopes. 43% salt marsh, and the rest of it is basically from what's in the water column. I'm telling you, the world is telling us that if we want water to be clean, we bring back life. How much? Stop him from talking. How much do we? I'll tell you, if you take that 25.92, I did learn in grammar school long division, we all did. You divide the day's waste out of New York City wastewater. Let me do it in liters just because it's easier with the liter to liter. It's about 5 billion-ish liters from the 14 wastewater treatment plants every single day. So how many mussels would we need to clean up the water? You just say simply take that 5 billion, divide it by 25.92, and you get about 190 million mussels. That's all. That's something like a very spare mussel distribution over about 2 square miles of salt marsh. Something smaller than Roosevelt Island. In other words, this problem is just like you were saying with the park here. Build the green for catching the water and capturing carbon. If we simply take even the waste stream, the clean concrete and the rest, make intertidal marshes, you will get out of those clean water, not just clean water, the water that we now, every gallon of water you treat in a wastewater treatment plant costs you 18 grams of carbon dioxide. If you treat it with that pin oak or this red metal, it will capture something like 13 grams of carbon. You can use 13 grams of carbon into life or 18 grams of carbon into the atmosphere. The choice we're making every time we flush the toilet, literally true. So what do? Like we do, you do, we all do in the gardens here. You capture rainwater. Gray water would be magnificent because you otherwise have to treat it. The point is, you don't necessarily need to throw all the people out of the neighborhoods and build high-rise pieces to generate income. You could simply build nature into landscapes and clean the environment, and it will cost you less because 3/4 of New York City's wastewater is sinks, showers, and laundries. I built a green roof on the Einstein Medical College with the backwash from the swimming pool filter. Well, how did the plants take the chlorine? Well, this is 24 parts per thousand chlorine. The plants don't really care about a little bit from swimming pools. Point is, the beings can handle these pieces, but every endpoint of human culture, of human economy, of our neighborhoods, every surface wants to look green, as we saw today in some of the great costumes. So,
thank you.
All buildable.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you to everybody. This has been, really a year-long effort. There are 1,000 people that we have directly been communicating with, not to mention all the people who join and participate on the day. It's been 3 months of workshops every week, led by our artists in residence, Lucrecia Novoa, Johanna Roa, and really hundreds of artists who've come together in all media, visual art, music, dance, theater, and poetry, to lend their talents to engage with community, to tell the story of this incredible neighborhood. You know, climate solutions, climate challenges can be abstract for many. They think it's, what can I do about it? But I think on the Lower East Side, we have a very real view of what these solutions are, because they're embedded throughout the gardens. They're on the Earth School green roof that we visited, and they're here along the waterfront. And as Paul said, with all sorts of resiliency efforts, planting wetlands to buffer sea rise, putting oysters and mussels in the river to filter pollutants. I mean, there's so many incredible, simple solutions that are at hand. So that is actually why we're doing this event, because we're bringing to life and affirming not just solutions that we imagine in the future, but solutions that are here, that are embedded in our own local neighborhoods. So I thank you all for coming together through joy and collaboration. And I think some of you heard last week we had our NEA Challenge America grant cut. These are difficult times. We lucked out because a few days later, the Andy Warhol Foundation for Visual Arts, along with Helen Frankenthaler Foundation, put up $800,000 to cover 80 groups. We each got $10,000. So that nightmare that I was going to face, because I already spent the money and I was waiting for reimbursement. Anyway, I don't have to worry about that. So, but I really hope for all the other groups out there, for the people affected by EPA, NEH, NEA. I mean, it's departments across the country, it's education, it's everything under attack. So, you know, I hope our strength in these dark times, that we can continue, that people will come forward to support what the government no longer will, at least the federal government, and understand that even the local government gets federal money. So you think it's going to trickle down, the impacts. So let us all keep going. Thank you.